The front door of our little station in Briar Creek blew open so hard it rattled the glass, and this tiny girl stumbled in shoelaces, untied t-shirt, 3 days too old, cheeks wet, both hands on her belly like she was holding in the ocean. "It's moving," she blurted, voice a broken whistle. "Something's moving inside me." Everybody froze. 20 years on the job, and I've heard every kind of emergency cry, but that one hit a pitch right behind my ribs. I set my coffee down, walked around the desk, and dropped to a knee so we were eye level. "Hey, I'm Officer Jenna," I said, slow and warm. "What's your name?" She blinked at me through the tears. Ava Torres." And then, like the universe wanted to nail the moment, her shirt rippled. Not breathing, not hiccuping, ripples like a fish under a tarp. Somewhere behind me, our rookie whispered, "Oh my God, is she?" I cut him off with a look sharp enough to shave. This wasn't gossip. This was a kid. We got the call out, EMS rolling, social services pinged, and I laid my palm flat against Ava's forehead. "Hot. Too hot. You did the right thing coming here," I told her, "because kids need that sentence more than oxygen." She nodded and tried to be brave, but then her knees softened and she went limp into my arms. Siren wail in the distance. Closer. Closer. 4 minutes can be a lifetime. At St. Bridget Medical, we handed off in the hallway chaos. Dr. Priya Shah met us, all calm eyes and clipped questions. 6 years old. Fever. Abdominal movement rattled, and Dr. Shah just said, "Let's get her back," like those 4 words were a shield. I stuck close. Ava's fingers searched until they found mine, and let me tell you, that grip, child-sized but world-heavy, will rewrite your priorities. Social worker Tomas Rivera showed up with a tablet and a tired smile. "Dad," I asked, "we're tracking him down." Tomas said. "Mom." He checked a screen. No current address. The ultrasound tech rolled in. They slicked Ava's belly with gel and moved the wand while the screen flickered in ghost gray. "I feel it," she whispered, eyes wide. "It's crawling." The tech swallowed. Dr. Shah's face didn't change, but she hit the intercom. "Page infectious disease." A moment later, Dr. Lauren Pike, sharp Bob, kinder energy, stepped in. "Ava, I'm Dr. Pike. I'm going to help the crawly feeling go away." The rookie's whisper from earlier kept bouncing around my skull. People love to jump to the ugliest conclusion when they see a little girl in trouble. You'd be amazed how fast bias masquerades as certainty. Miguel Torres arrived still wearing his warehouse badge, breathless fingers raw from a double shift. "Where is she?" he asked the first nurse he saw, and the way his voice cracked told me more truth than any background check. We got him to Ava's room. He took one look at the IV, the monitors, the tiny hospital socks, and he just crumpled into the chair like a bridge finally sagging. "I left her crackers," he said to nobody. I thought it was enough to get us to Friday. Ava started to moan, small and steady, and the ripples under her gown came again, more obvious now. Dr. Pike traded a look with Dr. Shah. "We're starting anti-parasitics," Dr. Pike said then to me. "Officer Moore, where does she live?" "Maple Hollow Apartments," I answered, and Tomas and I shared a glance that said everything: old buildings, old pipes, a landlord who fixed things on paper more than in real life. While the meds dripped and Ava finally drifted, I asked Miguel if we could see the apartment. He gave me a bent key and the kind of permission born of desperation. Maple Hollow's courtyard used to be nice. You can tell by the bones. But the swing set was wrapped in yellow tape and somebody had shoved a grocery cart into the shrubs like it lived there. Inside 2B, you could smell clean. That was the heartbreak. Miguel kept it tidy with what he had. The fridge held a carton of eggs, a half-gallon of milk, an apple rolling around like a coin. The cabinets, ramen salt, a lonely can of green beans. "He wasn't lying," Tomas murmured, taking photos for the file. We ran the bathroom tap. It sputtered, coughed, then flowed brown for 3 long seconds before it cleared. Above us, little black dots of mold agreed with the ceiling, paint in a war the paint was losing. On the sink, a stack of unpaid bills paper-clipped like they were trying to hold each other up. On the mirror, a crayon drawing 3 stick figures holding hands in front of a blue house. Me, Daddy, and the third labeled with a question mark. I pulled it down like it was evidence in a prayer. Next door, Mrs. Alvarez knocked. I watch her sometimes, she said, worried eyes, warm hands. My grandson had the worms last month. Doctor said it's the water. Tomas wrote it down. I texted our department group chat one line. Check Maple Hollow complaints. By the time we drove back to St. Bridget, my phone was buzzing like a beehive. Photos, calls, old citations. Same pattern I'd seen before, fines paid, problems resolved, nothing fixed, you can drink. In Ava's room, Dr. Shaw explained the plan in plain English. She's severely anemic and malnourished. We're treating the parasites now, but she hesitated and Dr. Pike picked it up. The ultrasound shows movement, yes, but also something odd. We need a CT. Miguel stared at his hands. Do whatever it takes. He signed handshaking so bad the letters looked like waves. The CT tech took her, and for a stretch, it was just the three of us in the waiting room. Me, Miguel, and the guilt he kept trying to swallow. I should have moved us, he said finally, voice flat. To where I asked, with what? He didn't answer, but the truth hung between us anyway. Being poor isn't a character flaw. It's a math problem rigged by people who can afford better calculators. Dr. Pike returned with images on a tablet. Good news first, she said. It's not a tumor. Miguel exhaled like he'd been underwater. What is it? She turned the screen around. A small dark shape floated in the gray. Looks like a plastic fitting, she said. From a faucet aerator, maybe. If it broke and fell into a cup. She didn't need to finish. It had likely sat in Ava's gut, acting like a tiny evil motel parasites, checking in lead, leaching from every sip until her little body couldn't pretend anymore. Surgery at dawn, pediatric team on call. We'll get it out, Dr. Shaw promised. We tucked Ava in for the night, her cheeks cooler, now her hands still reaching for mine on reflex. I told her a dumb joke about my partner's mustache being evidence of a crime against fashion. She giggled, tiny exhausted, then closed her eyes. Back at the station, we packed our break room with donations like it was Christmas in August. Diapers, groceries, gift cards, a stack of picture books. Someone's kid outgrew. Our sergeant looped in the county health director, Carla Nguyen, who arrived with a binder so thick it had its own weather. Maple Hollow is owned by Alden Residential, she said, flipping tabs. 6 complexes in the county, repeat water violations, mold citations, lead paint flags. Fines paid, nothing remediated. Alden, as in Councilman Alden, I asked. Carla didn't blink. Same family LLC. Here's the thing about quiet towns. They stay quiet until a kid gets hurt. Then the volume knob breaks. Morning came fast. I brought coffee and cheap bagels to St. Bridget because carb glue is how you hold scared parents together. The pediatric surgeon, Dr. Kaplan, briefed us like a teacher before a field trip. An hour, maybe 90 minutes. We'll remove the foreign object and irrigate, he smiled at Ava. You'll be back before your stuffed bunny misses you. It's a bear, she corrected. Dead serious, and then she handed it to me. You hold him. Like I said, priorities rewritten. While the OR lights burned, our detectives served warrants. It made the new news cameras outside City Hall's Councilman Richard Alden, walking out with that offended rich guy face sputtering about misunderstandings, while the reporter listed addresses, code numbers, kids' ages. I didn't cheer. I just looked at the clock and counted the seconds, slower, until Dr. Kaplan reappeared, cap lines across his forehead, eyes bright. Textbook, he said. It was a green plastic insert about 2 inches. Out and done. She's going to be okay. When Ava woke up, her first words were, "Did it stop?" "Yeah, kid." I told her, throat thick. No more creepy crawlies. She patted her stomach solemnly, and then the bear. Good. He didn't like them either. 3 days later, the story outgrew us. The county opened emergency clinics at every Alden property. Fundraisers popped up like dandelions. A complex across town, Harbor View, offered the Torres family a 2-bedroom with clean water and a rent number that didn't mock them. The hospital started a fund to wipe the bills. I drove the move-in welcome basket, rice, beans, pancake mix. A new set of cups, and watched Miguel stand in the kitchen, like men do when they're trying to be practical and quiet and grateful all at once. Elena Ruiz showed up too, the mom who'd been gone. That's a mess I won't narrate for them, except to say sometimes people break and glue themselves back on in shapes you don't recognize, and sometimes that still counts as healing. 6 months after the door slam, I walked into Briar Creek Elementary for career day, and there she was, Ava hair comb cheeks round a purple backpack, swallowing her whole. Officer Jenna, she yelled, sprinting with that post-hospital bounce. Her class sat crisscross as I talked about how our most important tools aren't the badge or the belt. It's eyes to see, ears to listen, a heart that refuses to get cynical. I left out the part about how I almost quit 3 years ago when the job felt like putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. That day I believed again. We cut a ribbon at Maple Hollow, new pipes, new name, new oversight, with teeth. Councilman Alden took a plea fines community service, a political career that went the way of his lawn signs. Reporters wanted the quote about justice. I gave them something else. Believe kids, I said into 3 microphones. They don't always have the right words, but they know when something is wrong. Here's the truth I keep coming back to on night shift with the radio low. I've been underestimated my whole career. Station mom, too soft, the one who makes cocoa for shaking hands after a wreck. But that softness, it's a crowbar. It opens doors that force never could. It made a 6-year-old walk into our station and choose me of all people to tell the worst feeling in her little body. And it turned one scared sentence, it's moving into pipes, replaced policies, rewritten a whole town, arguing with itself about who we are. We didn't fix everything. Some families moved. Some stayed and fought. Some days the water ran clear and the futures didn't. That's real life. But when I pass Harbor View now and see a kid in a window laughing at cartoons, I let myself believe we tilted the scale just a notch, just enough. So I'll ask you, like I asked myself, where's the line between bad luck and someone else's negligence, and who gets to decide which it is? Have you ever watched people blame a parent for being poor, while a landlord pockets the difference and calls it business? Tell me what you've seen, what you think justice looks like when the cameras leave. Drop your city in the comments. Tell us if you've lived this, if you've tasted rusty water and were told it's within limits. If you believe every kid deserves a belly that doesn't crawl, write it below. Argue with me, argue with each other. Just don't go quiet.